Welcome to Nick on the Mic. I'm your host, Nick, and always with me is my co-host, Sir Gio Trades. Gio, it's been a long week. I know we haven't made that many videos, but how are you feeling this week?
Nick, I'll be honest with you. We just had our Super Bowl on Friday. I was posting all about it on my story, and obviously we didn't close above 60, but we won the game. I'll tell you that we won the game, and we're about to see the beginning of the parade.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far into the video yet, but as you can see on the screen, 411,000 contracts that were expired in the money. And we'll get more into what that possibly is to come. What we're going to talk about this video is possible gamma squeeze just for this big week for what we just had with AMC. We'll talk about rules that are already in place, 801, and as well as what could possibly be approved and effective this week, 002. And then as well, we'll lead into our expectations for the rest of the week. Okay, so let's start right into it. As you can see on Stocko Tractor, 411,790 calls in the money expired June 18th. Like we said, this was a really big week, as well as a big day on Friday. Honestly, I mean, Gio can even elaborate more on this, but I did not expect this many calls to be in the money, and to close at 59 is more than just a win. I mean, this is a lot of hedging for these hedge funds that have short positions and, that are just hurting by the day as this number goes up. They have to hedge. I mean, if we're just doing the math right here, 411,790. Now, that's 100 shares per contract. They're going to have to buy or hedge 41 million shares. Now, Gio, I mean, you'll elaborate more into what possibly is to come, but that's a lot of shares dumped into AMC stock. And as more and more volume has been increasing, we were in that drought on the volume, and now possibly quadruple witching hour for this week. I mean, on Wednesday, we could possibly see 40 million shares dumped into this stock. Am I right, Gio?
Yeah. So with that expiration coming to a close on the 18th, they have the time of expiration, the T+2 rule. So they have the time expiration plus 2 trading days, and after that would be Wednesday, the 23rd, right?
Yeah, the 23rd.
So the 23rd is when everything needs to be finalized. And if they don't, then what you have that rule, we're going to get into that in a second, but the rule 002, where they're going to have these mandated margin calls, automated margin calls right from the broker. And it's all going to be a domino effect at that point if they fail to deliver on those shares.
Yeah, and like Gio said, we'll kind of get drifted into that straight of it. But NSCC 2021801 was already effective. We've talked about this rule, that it was approved and that is ineffective. And now this piggyback rule, NSCC 2021002, this is going to be approved tomorrow. And it's either going to be approved or rejected. And as you can see, I have the ruling, the disclosure right on the screen right now, 002, as you can see on the top of the screen. I'll just read it directly from it. Okay, so accordingly, pursuant to Section 19B2 of the Act, and for reasons stated above, the Commission designates June 21st, 2021, tomorrow, as the date by which the Commission shall either approve, disapprove, or institute proceedings to determine whether to disapprove the proposed rule change. So yes, tomorrow we're seeing that it is going to be approved. Probably, I mean, as 801 has already got approved and already effective, I don't see any possibility of it getting disapproved. And what this possibly does is pretty much, a lot of these FTDs, the lenders need a collateral, and they need a lot of cash to back up these. Like we said, they need to balance out the books. And if they do not have that collateral, then automatic, as Gio said, it's automated into margin calls. Gio, I mean, like we said, that we could possibly see this gamma squeeze. I mean, this is huge news, right?
Yeah, it sure is. We've been in these, securities for months now, and we've been constantly waiting for these margin calls to hit. But the problem is they had to get all these rules in play, the SEC did, because when these finally, occur, when these margin calls hit and the short squeeze begins, these hedge funds are not going to make that same mistake ever again. And we all know that. That's why I keep telling you and everyone on my story, the market's not, they're watching my stories, the market's never going to be the same. You know that. I know that. A lot of people know that. And That's why these rules are all coming into, about to go into effect. And when they fully do, and the thing is, when they do go into effect, they have to get enforced. So the rules could be, in play, but if they don't get enforced, they're not going to do anything for us. So we're relying on our brokers to do what they have to do to help us, because they could go on, behind our backs and help these hedge funds by not enforcing these rules. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely agree. And then as well as SEC, kind of approving this rule, I would hope that like they regulate it. You know what I mean? They just
Right.
approved it and it is being effective. We would just hope that, we can only just hope that they actually do regulate it and that the brokers do actually initiate these the actions of the rule. Like we said, that these members and the positions are extremely high risky and they're over leveraged, to say the least. And what they have to do is come up with this collateral, and if they don't, then there's nothing that can stop us at this point, right? This is almost as this rule gets infected and as margin calls come in, we should see a timeline come shorter and shorter as like I've preached on my kind of page. It's like I can't really predict the timeline, but this almost speeds up the process. Wouldn't you say, Gio?
Yeah, because they can't just keep kicking the can down the road, Nick.
Exactly.
Because the longer they do that, the further that the rubber band's going to stretch.
Yep.
So the thing is that when all these margin calls get hit, these computers are going to go in and buy, gobble up all these shares, and they're not gonna debate or negotiate share prices. Like I said before, the couple of videos that we made, when they see that next price is $20 higher than the next one, they're just going to take it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they want to get this done as quickly as possible, even though it's going to take multiple days. It probably even take weeks. They don't want this to drag on months and months. Going to the next quarter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely agree, Gio. As we've said in the beginning, such a great week and it's such a great close. All these contracts that are in the money and possibly that could lead into the gamma squeeze, as well as this 002 being approved Monday. Gio, what is your ultimately expectations? I have the chart up right now. As we closed in 59, and as we sitting in right now in after hours after Friday 59.26. What is your possible expectations for this week?
For this week or just for tomorrow?
You could say tomorrow, then possibly leading on to this week.
Yeah, so I think the Monday and Tuesday we're going to see somewhat of a gap up. I'll give you probably my estimate, but I think we're going to see anywhere from 10 to 15% tomorrow or Tuesday. And then if we see that tomorrow, then Tuesday we're going to see somewhat of a retracement. And then Wednesday and Thursday is gonna be that massive push, something like we kind of saw on June 2nd. I'm not saying it's going to gap up $30 again in the same day, but it definitely can. It definitely can. So if that happens, we get a repeat of June 2nd. And there's no reason AMC is at $100 at some point this week.
Yeah, I can't more agree with your analysis and your possible expectations. My personal opinion, if we're just talking about the history of this, 6-month process, I have the chart up and we saw a high of 72 and then we saw that big pullback. Just this momentum, and I can't keep pounding, this momentum cannot be stopped. And Gio, I know you can elaborate more on this, but as we see 72, and I don't have too much experience into the stock market, I haven't never seen a price go up to 72, but normally we would see a very, very big pullback and almost to a down where it just stops that run. And as we were seeing, it's just consolidating. And what consolidation does, it just builds strength on this bullish momentum. And ultimately, I can't explain more. It just can't be stopped. As you can see this chart as I'm dragging down the screen, we did see some scary lows of 39, but as you could see, by the week, we keep closing up and more up. I don't have the timeline of my chart of the last 4 weeks, but I know we've grown at least 3 to almost as numbers as $20 on a weekly basis. And I just can't keep pounding that this momentum cannot be stopped. And I honestly think this week we are going to see that next big gap up, because like we've said for the last 3 weeks, it was kind of on that volume drought and we weren't seeing that crazy traded volume, above the float. That we were seeing that run up to 72. And finally, I think this week we finally saw upper volumes up to 200 to 400. I don't know if we did reach 400s, but I know we were in the 300s range. And I just think that this week we could possibly see that 500 plus volume. Wouldn't you agree, Gio?
Yeah, especially Wednesday and Thursday for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. guys, it's a big week. Like Gio said, it was the Super Bowl Friday, and now this week is the parade. Hopefully, I mean, I'm not trying to give your guys this lost hope, as I've pounded a lot in every video. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. We're not telling you to go buy AMC, but it's a very, very good upside potential on this week. And as you can see the chart, it's looking very, very good for a bounce up. I know we saw like a slight pullback. I know it was right, Gio. I know you watched the last hour of trading, Power Hour, but we did kind of see a little.
I mean, I told you about it, but I predicted it was going to happen. I didn't know we were going to break the 58 support level. That was on, that was a support trend line. It actually broke that and then went down, I think, 56, now 85. And then from that moment on, the last, I think, 45 minutes of the trade day, you saw this massive push and buying pressure coming in, dragging it to a close of, was it 59.26, right?
Yeah, 59.26 for after hours as well.
So, I mean, we didn't close above 60, but that's okay. They wanted AMC to close below 40 because that's where the majority of those calls were back in February and March when I bought mine, and that was the highest calls you could buy were the 40s, and that's what everyone was buying. So you got to think a majority of the calls that expired in the money on Friday were for those $40 strike prices.
Yeah, I great that you added that, because I would love to also add this as well. Is I like how we said that these prime brokers kind of do map out the timeline, and they kind of do map out our orders, and is the way that it gets kind of liquidated into the market and the price that we're seeing today. I'm actually kind of shocked that we're ever seeing 72, because if we're talking 5 months ago, and telling me that we'd be at $60 and consolidating at 60 and not having the squeeze yet kind of pushed, on that run up to 72. Right. I mean, I would say you're kind of crazy. I would say there's no way that didn't get margin called or they didn't cover. But they willingly got this price up to 60 to consolidating at that price. I mean, we have them on the neck. We have them pretty much bleeding out. And at this point, I think they're just holding it until their last breath. You know what I mean, Gio? I think that this week could possibly see their last little trick that they have under their sleeve.
If they go down, they're going to go down with everything.
Exactly.
That's the way it's going to handle. But I mean, not just AMC this week. You got GameStop too, because on Wednesday,
you have the chart up right now.
They're getting added to the Russell 1000 because their market cap is now exceeded, I think, $7 billion, which is required. But what's crazy is that with their market cap at just under $15 billion, AMC's at almost double that. So imagine when AMC gets added to the Russell 1000.
That's crazy.
And all these hedge funds, pension funds, begin adding AMC, to their portfolio.
Yeah,
you're going to see massive buy-ins next. And the thing is, when these pension funds and these portfolio managers add these stocks, they want to get in right away. They're not going to wait. They're not going to be the last one to get in because obviously they want the best price.
Yep.
And the fact that they're going to be adding these in the 50-60 range means even after the squeeze, when AMC retraces back down, it's not going to go back to $20 or $30.
No.
It's gonna stay at these levels or higher, where these funds and these fund managers got their initial buys.
Exactly.
They're not going to let it retrace.
Yeah. So ultimately making it into a long-term stock.
Exactly. Yep.
And we'll definitely make a video on that as it gets confirmed, as these two securities these two stocks get added into the Russell 1000. But yeah, I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, we won on Friday, and we see a very, very upside potential onto AMC on that possible next gap up, as we kind of have preached the past 2 to 3 weeks. There is a next gap up, and the consolidation tells it all, and we see very, very, very big jump in price. And I know we saw it to jump almost 7 times on that week we went up to 72, but I think we might see the same or even bigger.
We're going to see definitely a retest, and if it breaks, I just don't see a way it's not going to hit 100 this week.
I agree.
If it breaks that resistance up top.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see a way.
I agree, Gio. And thank you everybody that did actually tune to this podcast. As like we said, we're going to try to be more up to date with it. I've actually kind of been busy with just studying with the CPA, and as well as, updating on my social media. As you can notice that we kind of post on the daily and hour. We'll try to be more consistent with it. As we see more news like this, as 002 is going to be approved tomorrow, more and more news comes out. Possibly that next big gap up this week, more videos will come out. Thank you, Gio, for actually hopping on and everything. I know it's kind of late right here, and we did actually have a tornado warning where we live right now. So, have a good night's sleep, Gio. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into Nick on the Mic. Like, comment, subscribe, comment, as well as share the post when we post it. Please, we'd love more and more people to find out about AMC. More people know it. More people possibly gets intuitive into the stock and possibly, possible future AMC holder. Thank you, Gio, and have a good night.
You too, Nick.
Bye.